So it looks like Janibek versus Erislandy Lara will be made in the middleweight division, unifying three of the belts, of course, with Janibek holding the IBF and WBO, and I believe Erislandy Lara holding the WBA world title, with Adames holding the WBC, but Adames isn't involved in this. They did try and make Janibek v Adames first, but Adames apparently wasn't interested in that fight. So now they've progressed with the Janibek v Lara fight. Now this fight, in my opinion, probably would be a high-level technical boxing fight, even though Adames is a very good boxer in and of himself. But here you've got two southpaws. You've got a Kazakhstan with the Eastern European style, or like not Eastern European, Soviet style boxer, where he's a bit more of a counter puncher, but he's southpaw as well. He uses his footwork nicely and counters really effectively. Against Erislandy Lara, who's more of the Cuban boxer puncher. Well, again, in and of himself, he's also a counter puncher, and there's another guy who's, like I said, southpaw and counters well, but boxes very well as well. Of course, he boxes well as a world champion. That goes without saying. But Erislandy Lara, he has been beaten before, beaten a few times at this point in his career, and has been around for such a long time. You know, I see his age, I'm like, he's not that old. I think he's only like 34, but, you know, this guy's been around for donkeys. But, you know, he must have turned pro very young, because I remember hearing about Erislandy under, you know, well over a decade ago, right? So he must have been in his early 20s when he was, you know, coming up, mate, doing his thing at, you know, 154 and 160. Of course, now he's fighting at 160. But I look at Lara, and I'm like, this guy went to war with Jared Hurd and lost, right? This guy's not beating Janibek. Do you know what I'm saying? Now, Janibek's not got an insane resume. He's really not even beating any recognisable names other than Denzel Bentley for a WBO world title. But other than that, there's really no one that impressive on his resume. But he's beaten everyone. And that's the thing. And that's why it's so important to see these types of fights, because ultimately these are the fights where questions are answered. We find out, okay, what truly is the level of this guy? What actually is the level? Not, oh, we just think he's high level, but he's not actually fought anyone. No, fight these guys. Let's really find out what level you're at. You know, to be fair, kind of crazy he's been able to claim 2 world titles. He's not really facing anyone amazing, but he's not facing anyone amazing, but the middleweight division is not a super deep division right now. Right? You know, post Triple G and Canelo, that generation of middleweight sort of finished, and these are the next guys up, right? And they need to sort of prove that they are at the level to take on the legacy of like leading the middleweight division, right? I think Janibek is good enough to do that, but we have to see it. He has to prove it. And the only way to prove it is to get in these unification bouts and fighting the big names in the division. Like, to be honest, there aren't really any other huge names in the division other than, right, Adames, who's WBC world champion, and then Lara, who's WBA champion. He's fighting Lara, which is why it's a good fight, right? And this is why this is a fight that we needed to see. But Lara was a tricky fight. Always been a tricky boxer, though. Always been tricky. Always been the type of boxer that when he wants to be, he can be very hard to hit and very hard to beat. But he's beatable, though. Like, if you can get up inside paws, if you can be rough and ready with him, and if you don't mind taking a shot, then you've got a chance. But it's once guys sort of feel the fight's getting away from them against Lara can take over. But Lara at this point has definitely got a lot of miles on the clock. So, and Janibek's no pillow hands. Janibek can definitely punch, and throws, like I said, throws with bad intentions too. So I wouldn't even be surprised if we saw a Janibek stoppage here, and he gets Lara out of there within the distance. But no doubt, nearer the time and when the fight gets announced formally, when like a date and venue gets confirmed, then no doubt I'll make another video about this. But I would be super curious to know what you guys think of this fight. Do you think Janibek can win this and unify the division even more with 3 belts and then just leaving Carlos Adames there? Or do you think Erislandy Lara could cause a huge upset? I mean, it would be a huge upset in my opinion. Huge upset in my opinion, and even get the win over Janibek. He's a good enough boxer to do it, you know. When you're a boxer like Lara and you're a southpaw and you're slick and you're tricky and you've got a lot of experience, you're tough to count out. And I almost see him like a better version, but a bit like how I see your Dennis Ugas right now. Not right now, but like a few years ago, where, yeah, this guy's been beaten a few times, but he's a tricky southpaw, and if you don't show up, you know, on your shit, this guy can beat you, right? If you don't show up on job, this guy can beat you, right? So yeah, we'll find out when the fight gets announced, the venue gets confirmed and everything. But yeah, be super curious to know what you guys think of this fight. Janibek win or Lara win. Let me know in the comments below. Another episode of the Seth Solo Side Quest in the bag, and I'm out. Peace.